And it's, what up, it's your boy Marco from Upside Down Studios. It is What the Fuck Wednesday. We are joined tonight by Vinyl Rick. He's over in the corner over here.
What's up, everybody?
Oh yeah, we got it. We see that sexy bitch over there. Move that bottle so we see that beard.
Can you really see me?
Yeah.
I can't see shit.
We got
Well, look at the screen up there.
we got
trying
Brad
to
in the motherfucking house, the clown.
The fuck is going on?
And we got fucking a special guest out of Toronto, Canada, Dino the Genetic Marvel.
What's happening, everybody?
What's up?
And as always on the ones and twos, we got Greg in the house.
What up, y'all?
How everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Pretty good, yeah.
Fantastic.
Wow, I had just looked into an empty fucking chalice. That is depressing. Depressing. Huh. Alright, so
Good way to start the show.
tonight we are going to touch on a little bit of a toss-up here. A toss-up. We keep hearing all this shit about the Ukrainian invasion. We keep hearing about what is happening, what is not happening in our media. But when I decided to branch out and look at the rest of the world and what they're talking about, what's going on, totally different shit. Totally different shit. And if you try to put any of that other side of the coin on any kind of social media, you get banned. Even in your private messages, you get shut down. Dino and I found that out the other day.
Yeah.
We were just in a conversation. I wanted just to send him a website, not a video, not an article, not any shit like that. And they fucking put up a thing like I was trying to post kitty porn, dude.
Yeah.
I was sending abusive whatever, delete it. I was like, well, what the fuck, dude? I mean, so
Like, Hey, and on that note specifically, I know it's not the topic, but realistically, that just goes to show you that anything that we're seeing that's a problem, they can stop at any point in time, right? Like, people aren't fixing the environment because they've chosen to. Because remember, at the beginning of this, the hole in the ozone in the Arctic sealed up because of inactivity. It's like, no. So they don't want to find all the fucking kid diddlers? Yeah, they're choosing not to do that shit because they chose to stop you sharing that website. That doesn't make any sense.
the kid diddlers are the ones that are doing all the rest of the bullshit. Yeah, because I found out in doing a lot of this research and trying to connect dots and seeing how it comes back our way, a lot of these bigwigs are connected to the whole Epstein Island and shit. All the way to Bill Gates. I guess Bill Gates' wife used to love it there. That was like her spot. So, I mean, I don't know what she was doing there. We could all speculate what was going on there.
Probably
but,
banging and getting fucked up.
Hey, I mean, those are the Gates, man. Shit, who knows what the hell they got going on.
Don't matter who it is. Maybe she was running a blood trade.
So, what got me on this whole thing the most, though, is lately the U.S. media has been pushing that they were afraid that the Russians were going to use biological weapons.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, just in history alone, that's not Russia's style. That's not Russia's, thing. Russia goes in and they just blitzkrieg shit. They just start hammering shit. They're not real accurate or surgical, but they get the job done. Brutal in and out. That's Russia's strategy over the years. Now, Putin himself has always been against, and he's even a part of the UN treaty or whatever. I think it was in 83 or 93, where they had a ratification that nobody uses biological weapons, or even makes labs that can conceive these things or anything like that. Article 1 of that fucking thing, and the U.S. has totally said fuck you to that, and now I guess NATO is trying to just kind of fucking use what we got out there. Our media is telling everybody that this is bullshit and it's fake, but I sent you one of the videos that was from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago. and they were just complaining more of environmental shit from these labs. I found other articles and documentaries. There's 30 bio labs that are ran by the Pentagon in the Ukraine alone.
Yeah. It was 30? There was, because she said 25 and then they said 30, right?
Yeah.
But they said there's a ton that are all over the place.
American news, and they said 30. So between 25 and 30 labs when
Either
they're
way.
supposed to be not one.
Yeah, either way.
Still
Yeah.
fucked up.
And there are more outside of the Ukraine too, right? These
Yes,
are all labs that are in other countries that are completely funded by the United States government and the Pentagon.
And I just found out, like, right before I was headed this way, I was, packing up my stuff and still doing a little research. What is called the Dugway Proving Grounds. Remember that? I'm sure we've heard about that. It's a military base. It's over 70 years old. When I was coming up, that was like one of the training bases. That was like one of them, for like the SEAL Team 6 guys, the Navy SEALs guys,
Right.
It was the proving grounds. Well, I found out now that has been a biological weapons lab forever, I guess.
That would make sense. Like realistically, there are teams that deal in those situations where they're sent in to find out. So like there's in those labs, like, and not to defend them, but like part of that is learning how to counter it, how to deal with, like, there is a level of research that is important to know for certain things.
Right.
Gain of function not being one of those things, right?
Right.
That's,
right,
hey,
exactly.
let's fuck around and see if it gives you superpowers. You're like, no. We have to find a way to kill it en masse. That's the research you should be doing. Not, how about, let's see it do something cool. Maybe it could do a trick. Play dead, but not really.
What really got me, though, is the whole the etymologists that have diplomatic immunity.
Yeah.
Through a drug trafficking header, if you want to call it, but they're over at these research labs, which have nothing to do with drugs, should not have any kind of immunity or anything like that, but they're over there. So people are investigating, like, why are these etymologists got this such high clout and everything, and apparently what they're doing is they're taking mosquitoes and sand flies, whatever the fuck, and a couple other different indigenous bugs from around there, and they are using them as a catalyst to transport these viruses and whatever weaponry. And
Yes.
now the U.S. I guess 3 years ago, patented a drone to mass disperse mosquitoes that have whatever they want to transport with it.
So, is it not odd that, once again, like, big chemical and big pharma are the ones that are facilitating some significant moves of technology, right? Like,
See, I don't think this has
bioweaponry
anything to do
is-
with big pharma. This has everything to do with the
DARPA.
military complex, I guess.
Yeah.
the industrial military but that's the thing is, like, I really feel that industrial military complex has its hand firmly attached to big pharma, big chemical, like these organizations that, like, they work together to create, like, they're also attached to food. The reason being is the government needs, like, the military needs that research to make it the best possible military, right? It's the same idea of being able to provide MREs to boots on the ground, right? It's the same type of research, just extrapolate. You're not going to feed MREs to people, but you may be able to change food to make it more economical. See how it trickles down, like.
I get it on that end, but that's still, they're taking, like, they're bioengineering viruses and diseases that are already there.
Yeah.
And they're turning them into 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
And then they're letting them loose on a population.
Which is,
I mean,
yeah.
I guess what I'm getting at is everything that's going on now and all that we're getting pushed on, that the Russians and whatever the fuck, whoever's running that shit, Putin and his people, are bad, and were not provoked, and they're pushing all this propaganda. But if you start looking into it and start looking into the other side of things, and not like before this shit popped off, everything that he was bitching about, everything that the Kremlin and Putin was bitching about, the shit is real. The shit is real now. We're finding it out, and they're like, "Oh no, well no, they're still bad guys," and yeah, this is.
Well, those are just
this is
all the
fake.
naive people thinking that Russia wasn't ever going to accomplish something. Like
Sure.
they haven't stopped
See, I don't
just doing
understand how
everything
people
for.
keep thinking that Russia is was the second biggest superpower in the world.
Yeah.
America was the first.
Yeah.
Now
Everybody
who
forgot
fucking
that.
knows what it is, but just because they may not be top dogs anymore or may not be flaunting it anymore, don't mean that that shit ain't fucking still there.
They still have nukes. They still have nukes, right? Like,
And they're still
literally-
pissed off.
Literally,
They're also
Russia
pissed off.
has a cyberdyne system. Like they have a Terminator type fucking contingency plan
Yeah.
that if they get nuked, like if the Kremlin or whatever their White House is called out there, if their head of their country gets nuked, then wherever the last strike came from, there are unmanned planes, choppers, tanks, and subs that are programmed to hit that.
Yeah.
They have their missiles set up the same way.
Yeah, it's like a cyberdyne system, like the Terminator,
look,
Fail safe.
and it don't get shut off. It does not get shut off.
It's pretty.
Hey, even to this day, sorry to cut you off, is to this day, the human intelligence that is provided by the KGB and the FSB and the Russian Federation in general has never been surpassed by anyone, right? Where they've had planted assets and just insane ways of getting information. No one does that better.
Done. They're not about. Oh well, we can't. The Geneva Convention says that we got no.
Yeah, they
we're
don't
gonna
care,
send a
man.
hooker to your fucking room, and next day you're fucking dead on a bench.
Yeah.
This is
With his compliments.
Their master plan for the last 80 fucking years.
Right.
Like, it's just coming to light now.
I don't really look at it that way. I'm more looking at it now as, they were putting out the fucking truth and reality of what's going on, but they were putting it out there in a shitty way. It's like, that asshole Big Brother.
Yeah.
Haha, you did this, and oh yeah, you're adopted. Well, our parents, that might be your mom, but that's not your mom. We
Yeah.
picked you up this and that. That might be true, but dickhead, you ain't have to say that shit. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's more that way, and I'm only coming to that, I guess, realization now, or that I way of thinking now, because of, like I'm saying, if you look at other countries' news, it isn't the Russians that are taking out all these civilians. It isn't the Russians that are taking out this and that. I'm seeing Ukrainians taking out. There was 130 kids that were just killed somewhere in Russia. One of these fucking buildings, or one of these, it was actually like a fucking city, I guess, that got hit. And the Ukrainians don't know where to hit. They don't know where to strike. They don't know, they're not as trained or prepared. Russians know where they're going. They're going in like accurate, and they're taking out, what they're taking out.
Yeah. But
So,
look,
I mean,
even before this happened, before they started going into Ukraine, it was like mainstream media about how Russia and China made a statement with regards to stopping the hegemony of the U.S. currency, right? Like,
Right.
Look, the fact is that Russia has accuser because they were number 2, right? That's ultimately, look, they lost. That's what happened. They fucking lost, and now they got to suck it. But at the same time, they're going, hey, you know what? Being number 2, as great as that is, we're kind of getting fucked, And they're kind of getting fucked, man. Like, it's tough. It's tough not to be like, hey, man, like,
well, see,
they
at
don't-
first I kind of had that way of thinking. At first I'm like, well, Putin just, his first ideals, because he said it a few times, when he got into office, he was going to stay in office, which he shimdiggled the system so he can now.
true.
But not only that, he was going to bring Russia back together, the USSR back together. That was one of his, what he wanted. That was like a goal, his legacy. But as far as this is going on, and this whole little shit that's going on with the Ukraine right now, I'm a firm believer now that he had a lot of valid fucking points, and it got to the point where these people are doing some fucked up shit, and now we're gonna bring NATO in there, and NATO got their own agenda going on. If you look into the history of that shit, so we don't want that shit going on here. So we're gonna stop it right now, and pretty much they're not. I mean, honestly, they're talking about, they're doing war crimes, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, and, Russia's keeping these planes, and if they go into debt, they owe all this. Do you really think they give a fuck about any of that?
Yeah.
I mean, you shut down their banks. You think they give a fuck about giving you any money that, we can't even get anymore?
My bad.
It's just like, okay, well, you took your McDonald's out. I'm keeping your planes. And fuck your money, and you don't want our gas? Fine, we got all the gas in the world here. Our planes run on gas. So I mean, if it comes down to it, and they don't have anything else, he'll send some kamikazes out that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And hey, I mean, now you got our few planes there, and I'm sure there was other planes there from other countries that he said fuck it. I mean,
every country that left planes there that said, "Oh, we're gonna pull out," he's like, "Okay, well, this is mine now," which I think that's fair.
Just the planes. It's every fucking business that pulled out of there. Yeah. He pretty much confiscated everything there.
If they're pulling out, that's on the finders keepers at that point. Like, you've abandoned your product. Sorry, that's
now it's McPutin's.
Oh, god damn it.
McDonald's is the Big Mac. He's got the big poop.
One thing that kind of bothers me that I don't really understand, and I'm not sure whether it's actually the Russians saying this or if it's just our media because they love using the words. But the whole they're trying to say that the Russians' biggest issue was they wanted to get rid of the neo-Nazis that have a lot of these militias in Ukraine.
Yes.
And that Ukraine is ran pretty much by the neo-Nazis. And well, first of all, the Nazis they were against Jewish folks. Now we could take that out and just say a particular group or whatever, but Zelensky is Jewish.
Okay.
So right there, that's kind of fucking the whole team there, because these so-called neo-Nazi groups are working with Zelensky and the Ukrainian military. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is, you guys are rounding them up. You guys are I just don't. The definition of Nazi and what these folks are is totally opposite. Totally.
I watched a thing on this today, and this is what's actually happened. Okay, because like yourself, you're kind of standing there going, "Hey, what is going on here?" So there is a nationalist party, neo-nationalist party that originally was made of a militia to fight against Russia, okay, in Ukraine. They got lumped into the Ukrainian militia in 2014. They also have some political representation in the Ukraine, okay?
Right.
So they are, I believe the soft term for, instead of calling them Nazis, is nationalists, white nationalists.
Which is another fucked up thing, because they try to push that terminology over here, and what it is
Nazi-like
by definition and what people make it out to be are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a nationalist. I love my country. Nationalism is loving your country and wanting your country to be first. It does not have anything to do with race. It does not have anything to do with religion or anything like that. But that's what it got changed into, and that Like I'm Puerto Rican. I got fucking black kids and black grandkids and white kids and all, you know. But I'm a racist because I love my country and I want my country to be first. That doesn't, you know, I never did understand that.
Yes, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But the what they're saying is that it's like Nazis, but a lighter version, right? Because they're
Nazi
about
light.
their own. Yeah, they're Nazi lights.
Not slight.
Yeah,
See,
that's so. It doesn't. I see your point, and trust me, none of it makes any sense. Okay, if you can say, well, but are they really Nazis? They're Nazis. Trust me. If you have a scale, they're all Nazis. Okay, so from the 0 on the scale to the 10 on the scale, still a Nazi. So, right? That's
and
that's
then like
it doesn't make
you know,
any sense.
the people who, you know, pretty much coined that term, that definition, that whole era, the Germans, totally against it, and you know, but the Russian oligarchs and Putin's family are in Austria and in France and in all, you know, and you know they're not going after them. They have diplomatic, they have, you know, the running the place like they always did,
Yeah.
and that never happened. You know,
Yeah.
that's another thing that doesn't make a fucking bit of sense to me. And I'm glad you brought up 2014 because that is a big date in all this shit.
Yep.
You know, back in 2014, I believe Obama was still in office.
Yeah.
He has part in the Burisma thing, which nobody seems to be bringing up anymore because Burisma is, you know, the gas shit in Russia that the Bidens have part in and also the Clintons have part in.
Yeah. Well,
So I mean, even if they shut the gas down to the U.S. from Russia, these fuckers are still, you know.
yeah. All of
no-
Europe's still being funded by Russian gas. That's it.
Well, I'm just looking at our fucking government, our people. You know, these corrupt pieces of shit that are making us pay out the ass over here, but yet they're the ones trying to blame, you know, Putin when they got the biggest fucking holdings in that gas market there.
Listen, we talked about it today. Was they just there's a executive order for funding. It's $82 billion to Ukraine in resources and money,
Weaponry,
and
money and
weapons, resources, all that kind of stuff to help them in the war against Russia. Which you're going, hey, that doesn't make any sense because you couldn't listen. Executive order means that he at any point in time could have been like, listen, we need to give the people something. Just
Right,
executive
right.
order done. One time, boom. No.
Now from
Not
somebody
willing.
from another country, you're an outsider. I want your opinion on this. Wouldn't all them them top-notch technologically advanced military weapons that we just left in the litter box, wouldn't have those been great to send over to Ukraine?
Well,
They
but then
wouldn't.
how do you solidify the loyalty of the Taliban, who that runs the Afghanistan now, and
Yeah, we don't
their
have
support
any
of the
them.
United States of America?
You know, they won't even talk. Like that's kind of silly. Like the Saudis and the Iranians won't even talk to our administration or anybody.
No.
You know, while Biden thought he was gonna go over there and kiss ass to get some, you know, get oil back from over there. No, you fucked that litter box all up. You
Oh, yeah.
fucked that up. There's no way. There's no way. You know, and these people out here who keep saying that the gas prices have nothing to do with Biden, you're full of shit. Because we'll take this whole fucking this war out of it. When Biden got into office, before he got into office, when he was debating fucking Bernie Sanders,
Yeah.
he said himself, there will be no more leases on the land.
Yep.
There will be no more drilling in America. There will be no more, using our reserves. Not even offshore. We ain't even gonna have drilling. You know, no, none of that. But you know,
Which is
people
insane.
don't like to look at that. You know, they're still on this whole that old fucking way of thinking. OPEC runs the gas, and OPEC runs. No, since OPEC went out of style back in the fucking early '90s.
It was
You
never
know,
in
when
style.
everybody started being able to go and do their own thing and drill everywhere else, that went out of style. So there is no more OPEC dictating the fucking gas prices, and that's what Trump tried to fucking tell everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you can't keep doing. If we got it here, and we could keep it here. We right now, without even pumping oil, without even pumping a goddamn thing, we got enough fucking oil reserves to last, I think, 200 or 300 years. 200 or 300 fucking years, and that's in reserves. Alaska is one of the most oil richest areas in the fucking world. We're not allowed to fucking drill there anymore.
Nope.
You know, they, you know, a lot of people like to use, well, if he wouldn't have shut off the pipeline, the XL pipeline, that wouldn't have did a damn thing. No.
Not true.
If they open it up right now, it's not going to do anything for a few years. But he shut that shit down almost 2 years ago. So right now, it would have been just starting to go up and running and getting shit going and facilitating its use.
Yeah.
And not only that, you know, Canada right now is having a fucking fit because the Americans refuse to get oil from them.
Yeah.
Which was the whole deal to begin with.
Yeah. And remember, hey, the XL pipeline, it gets refined in the U.S. with its jobs and everything, but it's getting refined to be sent outside of North America. So it is not, you're like, that's not going to help any, like, this whole setup doesn't make any sense. And you're like, listen, I don't think everyone, like, the perspective on all this doesn't make any sense, right? And you're absolutely right. They're still making money hand over fist. And they're saying, oh, no, look, while it's not Biden's decision to say, hey, gas prices need to go up, he can come in there and say, listen, bring those prices down. If you don't bring them down, we're going to have a problem. No, he lets them do whatever they want. And now everyone has to suffer.
He can't do that anymore because we're not running the show anymore.
Well, but that's the thing, is that's a choice that he made, and now he'll be held accountable for, right? Which realistically he's not going to be, but you know.
I don't think he's going to be held accountable for shit. Actually,
well, yeah,
not a goddamn thing.
Well, when was the last time a politician was held accountable for anything? Right.
The last administration. If that fucker farted the wrong way, he got impeached.
Yeah, but you know what? And realistically, nothing ended up happening, right? Like, all it was an excuse for them not to do their jobs. Instead, talk about the crazy orange man and with the crazy orange man. You know what? If I was president, I'd walk up to one of those fucking politicians every day and fart in his mouth. You know why? I'm the president. Fuck you. Suck it. You know? I'm
a firm believer, especially after watching more and more.
Sense.
You know, I'm glad. Well, I'm not glad the war started, but I'm glad that I became more aware of what's going on in the other way governments run shit. Fucking Parliament over in the UK is awesome. Fucking awesome. They go in there and they're like, "Fuck you," you know.
Oh yeah, they get mad.
There is no, you know, they try to keep it cordial, and you would think, you know, the people over there, they try to be a little bit more classy. When they get into that fucking room there, they don't give a fuck. Even if they're drunk, they don't give a fuck if you're drunk in there. They go in there and they say what the fuck is on their mind, and they'll keep grilling you. You know, the Boris Johnson, I think, is the president of the UK now.
Prime Minister, yeah.
Yeah, they totally, like, somebody had it out for him or whatever. He was talking about helping out the Ukraine. He was talking about, you know, sending, you know, more aid and this and that over to the Ukraine and all that. And out of nowhere, some dick in the corner said something about him throwing a party while the lockdown mandates were going on. And they just kept on and kept on. And he's like, look, we will, when the investigation is done, we will discuss that. You had this many people, and we think you shouldn't even be in here. I'm like, you ignorant cunt. He was talking about helping this country out. He's talking about a party that you didn't get invited to. And they even made it a point to say that they did not get invited to the party.
Yeah. Who the fuck does he think he is not to invite that person? So, yeah. We're going to have it out on camera.
And I'm also a firm believer that the president of all people should be allowed to do this. Now, I ain't saying there wouldn't be consequences, but the president should be able to just walk up to somebody and crack him in the fucking mouth.
I think, in all honesty, the idea of trial by combat is something we need to get back to.
Like,
right?
slap him with a glove. I challenge
fucking
you.
Just walk up to me. I challenge you. Oh, I want to pass this bill. Well, you know what? Fucking right in my face there, guy. Let's do it.
Yeah, if it comes down to a split decision, then you pick your best guy, we pick our best guy, go at it.
Slap fight. Absolutely. I feel like henchmen are a thing of the future. I feel like we've lost that. You know? and people all made fun of it because of Batman. And you're like, hey man, people had henchmen throughout history, and if anything,
Yeah, now
we were
it's
better
called
for it.
bodyguards.
Well, yeah, but they're all pussies now. And they're like, oh, well, I trained. And how about this?
I ain't
I
gonna
will
lie.
bite your
I'd
fucking
put-
face, okay?
I'd,
You want to
I'd
talk to
put Trump up in a trial by combat. You know,
He's
Trump
a big
did his
fucker,
training.
too, eh? He's
Trump
a big
did
fucker,
his fucking training when he was in the WWE. I mean, it wasn't much. It wasn't much, but I mean, he went in there and he trained to do what he had to do. He was in the fucking ring with Austin and McMahon. I mean, actually fucking fighting and shit.
Listen,
You know,
and that
the
was a
only
few
two
years
other
ago,
people
but
I'd be
still.
afraid of is Putin, because Putin is straight. You know, Putin.
Oh, yeah, he'll cut you, man. He'll cut you like, ha ha, right there.
Yeah, straight
Your
to the
neck's gonna cut.
jugular. And I
Like
wouldn't
Murat,
fuck
just
too
boom.
much with the fucking that Xi Jinping dude. I feel like he got some samurai or ninja in this fucking, you know, like when he ain't on TV talking shit, he's doing that fucking, you know, like,
He's in the dojo.
yeah, you know,
Working
he's
his
taking on
mojo.
5 people at one
Dojo.
time.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's in
we
the
were so
dojo
close
working
to
his
being
mojo.
accurate, and then you're like, you know what? Fuck that guy. He's a ninja or a samurai. Neither
Yup.
one, neither one racially accurate, but I love it. I love it. Fuck it. Just-
The ninja came from Chinese and the Japanese had the samurai. You should know this. You
You
got
and
an
I-
attic
you
full of
and I-
fucking Asians.
listen. You and I have both watched the 5 Deadly Venoms, and we both
Actually,
know.
the ninja come from Iga, Japan. So you're wrong.
So yeah, ninja and
No,
samurai are
the
both
samurai
Japanese.
came from Japan because they were the more
The-
honorable.
You know,
ones.
samurai were honorable. Ninja
Samurai,
were
yeah.
gang.
Yeah. Samurai were basically like the military. And
Generals,
ninja were
Gangbangers.
assassins and
Yeah.
placed there to learn intelligence.
Yeah,
And
they were the spies.
Most
They were
of the
CIA.
time they weren't in that black shit that you see everybody in. They were in normal
Yeah,
outfits,
Get-ups
just walking
with
like everybody
disguises.
else. Yeah.
I feel like they wouldn't be the CIA; they'd be more the NSA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the CIA is pretty fucking cool. You know, like
Yeah.
if somebody's like, "I work for the CIA," you're like, "That guy's got like some mad tang in his life, right? Like he's fucked bitches, right?" Whereas NSA, you're like, "That guy's a fucking nerd. He's probably got money, but like not fuck you money, just like I live comfortable with my 401."
Right.
I'm talking
Right,
about
right.
like your boy who's sitting in the CIA who's tracking down somebody on the computer. I'm talking about like CIA that's running the fucking these bio labs and shit like that.
Yeah, the what's his face that was in James Bond, that guy from the CIA, where he's like, "Yeah, I gambled and fucked bitches while I was here, but now I'm out. I'll back you up because we got some money." Boom, boom. You know, you're like, yeah, that kind of fucking CIA. Not fucking. We listen to your phone calls. Yeah, that's creepy, guy. I talked to my grandma. What the fuck? That's not a
And then
cool spot.
Right.
Getting back to the whole war thing, I'm glad
Yeah.
you kind of brought that up because it kind of another point that one of the other reporters made is that everything that we and I'm talking we as NATO, not we as America.
Yeah.
We as NATO have said that Russia has done or Russia is doing or any of these atrocities. America has done each and every one
Yeah.
forever. I mean,
Well,
from taking over to regimes to fucking with elections to propaganda to genocide to all this shit.
Look, and this is the ridiculous part about it is we just went through, okay, a pandemic of epic proportions for everything, and we found that the prevalent feeling of politicians, good or bad, left or right, was these are rules for thee and not for
Not
me.
For me.
Okay? So now we go up to the upper echelon, and you're staying there going, well, listen, we only allegedly did these bad things, but we know that Russia did them because they're the evil Russians. And you're going, how does this make any fucking sense? And you know what? Hey, they can't have McDonald's or Mercedes-Benz anymore. We've got them. And you're going, why is that? Why? How does that punish Russia? How does that make Russia not go to war? If anything, it was like, hey, guys, let's ramp shit up. We ain't got a when I go home. I'm spending the money on hookers in fucking Kiev. That's what I'm going to do. Okay? No, it doesn't make any fucking sense. I think I might use that as a joke. That's pretty good. Right? No, it's none of this makes any sense. Look, they're now you have people who are not allowed to leave Kiev, right? You have people who are being forced to fight, not being trained, but being forced to fight not that can't be
Well,
trusted
you
with
got that
weaponry.
on both sides. I mean, I've seen
Also
a
true.
lot of. I've seen some TikTok videos where there's actually like people from the Ukraine, like like the soup kitchens and stuff, going up to the Russian soldiers that have no fucking clue what they're doing. They're kids,
Yeah.
they haven't spoke to their family. They haven't and giving them soup and giving them food and shit like that. There, I mean, a lot of these people they have no clue what the fuck is going on both sides. They're just sending these kids out there. Here's a gun, go kill them people over there.
Well, and look, that's the difference between modern warfare with using, airstrikes and drones versus what would only be a war fought face to face is, hey, here's a Kalashnikov, go shoot some fucker who doesn't look like you. That's what it's come down to, right? And that's the thing is that's a huge difference of, maintaining a massive military that is extremely expensive, and namely, it's for too long it's fallen on the shoulders of the United States of America to govern everything, which is ridiculous as an ask, but also that now they have to facilitate all these needs and things happening that make no sense, right? So it doesn't make any sense, but that's why war is a crime, right? Like there's obvious things that are happening, and Russia couldn't give a shit half the time, but realistically, they're saying, hey, we're defending our border because if NATO comes into Ukraine, Russia has zero chance of being able to get them out, right? Once Ukraine is in NATO, that's done. But NATO itself is toothless until they're, in there and have their stuff set up. So,
well, apparently NATO is still against letting the Ukraine become part of it. And they've been against that for quite some time, but yet they still want to be able to set shit up over there.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, this since 2014, there has been just crazy shit that's been going back and forth, and that was the whole thing, with Trump and Zelensky when he asked, all he asked was for an assurance that the aid that we were sending over there wasn't going to end up in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
And just in the research you've done, the past few days, you've seen too, like the Ukraine was one of the most corrupt fucking places in the world.
Yeah.
But
well, most of Europe is. Most of Europe still gets. I know in Greek it's fakellaki, is a little envelope with maybe something to take out your lady in your time.
Well, all the wheels need to be greased here and there.
Listen,
I totally understand that. That's just the way of.
I think that was a better time of living. Just say,
everybody
hey,
had an understanding. Everybody had a price,
and look,
and nobody went back on it.
Well, that's an honor amongst thieves that has also disappeared because let's be honest, the Fox has been in the hen house for a few decades and it's got a couch, maybe a flat screen TV. It's not leaving the hen house.
Is fucking the hens.
He's eating and fucking the hens, which I feel is the worst, right? Like you're not going to get the right kind of eggs. You're definitely not going to get the right kind of eggs. That's just
Nope, not
they're hairy. They're hairy instead of with feathers. It's a peculiar egg.
All right, so
Yeah.
kind of, well, it's on the same subject, but a little bit more lighthearted in the situation because I'm still trying to. I'm a believer. I'm a believer in UFOs and shit like that. But this right here kind of got me.
Sorry, I just heard Greg go.
So supposedly, some Russian tanks were headed into a town in the Ukraine, and the Ukrainian people started praying. I say that because every article that I looked into, they're making a big issue of the whole praying thing.
Huge
but they started
issue.
praying, and all of a sudden a UFO appeared and attacked this convoy of tanks with a lightning type weapon, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Burned the tanks all up, and they don't know whether it's divine intervention or UFOs.
Well, it's some very, very specific, and you say some tanks, and like I feel that a lot of people need to understand that some tanks, that's like 30 tanks. That will destroy a city. Okay, like it's not like we don't have a good. It's not like, hey, it's the Fast and the Furious guys. No, no, no. This is a lot bigger, a lot more dangerous, and they're kind of just going through like because it's one of the officers called his dad and was like, listen, the tanks are here. We're going to die. Please pray for me. Right. And every one of the stories kept on saying about the prayer, the prayer, the prayer. And then they're like, hey, Lightning Jesus showed up and zapped all the Russians. All the tanks got melted. It's weird. Like, it's really, I feel like that's really directed at some really insane audience. Like, hey, do you believe in UFOs and think someone's listening to your prayers? Have I got a story for you?
Well, that area, especially Russian and Putin, they're very old school religious.
Yeah, it's the Orthodox.
Yeah. So,
they like the murder.
yeah. They're right there with the Catholics when it comes to that shit.
Yeah, God wills it. It's very it's quite aggressive.
I don't know. I know I hit one podcast. I think maybe it was they sounded like they were maybe Australian, but they're thinking that it was either they're calling it was either the Americans doing it with some kind of weaponry, and if it isn't our military, it's Elon Musk.
Yeah, which
this is what the other side of the world thinks. All of a sudden some shit like this pops off. It's automatically the Americans, and if it isn't our military, it's one of us doing it. And we got that type of technology.
Yeah, he's Iron Man. That's what they're saying. They're like, Elon Musk is actually Iron Man. He's digital Jesus. He's come back to save us all. Like, that's what's gonna happen. And you know what? Like,
and
I'd watch that movie.
Like to smoke weed.
Yeah, right.
Like, come on. That's a Marvel movie that I'm like, hey, I'd watch that. Like, there's no question. Elon Musk,
Iron Man, the first one.
Yeah, but I feel like Digital Jesus would be a little bit Bible thumpery, and you get the Midwest. Yeah, Digital Jesus.
That's what you're gonna call it?
I think so. He's Digital Jesus, because I feel like that's like the hero of America, And so Iron Man, you're like, I don't know. It seems like he could be a little Euro trashy, but Digital Jesus has got like Disney and the Bible. I feel like that could work,
Oh,
yeah, I feel like that's Ultron-ish.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe a little bit. There's a lot of young. Listen, TikTok went to the White House, guy, which in and of itself I feel is an issue. Okay, but
TikTok went to the White House.
Did you not hear about this?
No.
There was a press briefing specifically with TikTok creators.
Oh Jesus!
That's not a joke. That's a legitimate.
Oh yeah,
statement.
there was like 4 or 5 of them.
It was 30. And
oh shit! No, that I saw something else then.
It's they've been interviewed and they were like, hey, so, and remember, like, okay, I'm not sure. I've seen this on Facebook where people have shared. It's like 10 dances that you can do on TikTok to support the Ukrainian fight against Russia. I'm not even joking. I've seen that as
with the titty dance. I've seen the titty dance.
Listen, I'm always there for the titty dance, but I don't remember if that was related or not.
There were titties that were painted blue and yellow.
Oh,
and they were just...
I did send that one. That was for the French. Yeah, that was the statement that went with that was that whenever there's any sort of war or something bad happening, immediately the French feminists will have a display with their shirts off, which you're going, hey, that's just great news. That's how you bring knowledge to the ignorant.
But now, being that they're feminists, are we as men allowed to look at them when they're doing this?
I think
just
it's
titties for women?
Us being an ally to feminists that we're paying attention to what they're saying.
Because if we look at a woman's chest and then she has a shirt on but a little cleavage, then we're wrong. We're misogynists.
Well, these were painted with a flag. I feel like it was rude not to look. They put in the camera angles alone. They put in effort. And painting.
Hey, I support titties all the way around.
What kind of an animal?
Titties, big titties, floppy titties, saggy titties,
floppy floppers. Definitely, I'm there. Okay. I am what you call a vanilla pervert. I just love titties, so that's fine.
A
But
vanilla pervert.
yeah,
It's-
nothing weird. Just like titties, man.
That's
Fine.
going to be his rapper name.
Absolutely. If anything, that's that's
Vanilla
gonna be my first
perv.
comedy tour. Is gonna be
Nilla Perv.
Yeah. I feel like I could get. I feel like you have to embrace that kind of a title. You can't just put it in random. But yeah, so the TikTokers, 30 TikTokers who do like these people do report the news on TikTok. Like that's what they like. Real, actual journalists that have TikTok channels that produce news. I don't get it, and I feel like that's just an oxymoron in and of itself. But it is a real thing, and
Well, I mean,
apparently
it's a
they went to the White
platform.
House. It is
I'm
a
not a
platform.
big fan of TikTok at all, especially because everybody forgets about how they are pretty much taking all your data and storing it and selling it over
Well,
whatever else.
it's not
Eh,
just that they take your data; it's that it's a foreign government's program taking your data.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the bigger, right?
But
Like,
either way, I look at it, especially nowadays. I mean, even with the censorship on Facebook or everywhere else, everywhere we go,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to tiptoe on whatever,
Mhm.
and I'm not very good at that, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be like that. So I figured, fuck it, I could kind of get where they're going with the whole TikTok people. I hope they would actually had a message or an actual valid reason to be talking to the fucking government and not just, oh, well, I want to be able to put my kitty cat crying wherever the hell I want to, or stupid shit like that. Because
I want to say
again,
that
there's
it was
a lot of maybe like right now I can't go live unless I'm through our studio because of some shit I posted. So if I need to get a message out or whatever, and it's that important, then you just go to the different platform.
true. Yeah, and that's like that.
And
This
that's
is
very being loose. I'm trying to be on the defensive side because again, I really can't stand fucking TikTok. The only
It's-
reason why I
and,
have
like,
it is because we're on it.
the fact is that the interviews that I saw of the people who were brought in from that were TikTok creators, they said that it was a legitimate briefing. And what they did was wanted to encourage us to make sure that we're bringing information to light that is important to be brought to the people because it is a valid platform, and a lot of young people who are normally not inclined to listen to the news or watch the news may be getting their information from there. So now,
Oh yeah,
grant,
yeah. There's
Yeah.
TikTok is the new fucking whatever the fuck now.
it's not even the new one. It's like the old version of for young people. Like it's slowly starting to lose its gumption. That's why they're trying
Yeah,
to
I
make
see
it more
like,
relevant.
coming up more now with the younger It
Yeah.
was a younger kids thing for a minute, but now I'm seeing like all like more older people fucking getting into it and shit.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So that's
Which
why I
is
say,
gross.
Like it's going into a whole new thing there.
It's
But,
it's weird, right? But that's the thing is whenever old people start doing something, you're like, hey, there's going to be a new technology coming. Like that's, I hate to say it, so I'm like, listen, I like to post on YouTube, and that's actually I found that a much more rewarding process than Facebook and Instagram. I still use Facebook and Instagram, but YouTube has been great for me.
Yeah,
So-
you're lucky if I share this shit on Facebook because Facebook. What most people don't realize, I am the epitome of that meme that says, "I'm sitting on the toilet scrolling down this thing."
Yeah.
So that's it. Facebook to me, unless we're promoting a show or it's something that I really feel passionate about, and I came across it, or somebody just pissed me the fuck off. Facebook really has no use to me. Most of my posts, unless it's show, has something to do with the show or something that I'm gonna prelude to a show or one of my live shits. It's about lost dogs.
Yeah.
I post lost dogs and I post shit about my shelter that I volunteer at.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, whereas like that's I just okay, yeah, people are doing. I see what shows are going on, and that's I'm like, okay, comedy, whatever. It's just another place, but it's like Facebook has
apparently
also
I have
doubled
an
down on.
Instagram.
Yeah,
I didn't even know I had an Instagram until one day I guess I posted on it by accident. There was a button on my phone, but I have an Instagram that is ran by Upside Down Studios. So,
Yeah.
so that means
I've
Jared
tagged it as
just
a
got
collaborator
Instagram
before.
with my fucking name on it.
Yeah. I've tagged you as a collaborator a couple times. I'm like, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, I don't even know how to get on Instagram or like none of that shit. None of that shit.
No,
And
that's fine.
I chose to do that just because I still keep. I keep it in my head that this box, this computer, this video game in front of me is just that.
Yeah.
You know, I originally got on Facebook to get a hold of my friends that I don't talk to, whatever. You know, my ex used to have a fit that she wasn't one of my friends on Facebook. Bitch, I live with you.
Yeah.
You know, why do you need a picture of the food that I'm eating when you cooked it?
Oh.
You volunteer with me at the same shelter. You see the same dogs. Like, you knew what movie I watched last night because you were sitting with me watching the fucking movie.
Yeah. Listen, people. I
Half
feel
my
like
kids
people
ain't even
don't.
on my shit.
They don't want to exist in real life, right? Like it's a weird thing, and this is why like Facebook has doubled down with metaverse, where it's like, oh, it's all online. And you're like, I'm good. I'm like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm actually, this is like, that's weird. And people are like, people spend millions of dollars to buy a spot in the metaverse, which doesn't exist, besides Snoop Dogg's house that he doesn't live in and never goes to. You're going, listen, that's not. And people are like, yeah, I bought this place. You're like, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. That's not a thing. Okay, but that's what people want to do.
I don't know. I've bought shit just to say I've had it. It had no fucking use for it. Probably won't
Yeah,
ever
it's called a
use
hooker.
it.
There's a use for those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you pay them and they leave. That's how that works. It's not like, yeah, but that's the problem with not capitalism but consumerism, right? Is the idea that I buy things so I have it because ownership, that makes I own this thing, so that changes how you see me. That's insane, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't
But
make
that
any
kind of
sense.
keeps the economy going. We kind of need that shit.
That's the problem, man. I read it today. Oh, hold on. So I took a screenshot of it because it's fucking hilarious.
I mean,
It was-
well, I mean, even if you go way before like money and shit like that, I mean, even back in the Egyptians and Sumerian days, you had that gold itself, or you had like a shiny rock or something like that. That kind of made a status symbol. Back when I was growing up, if you had a pager, that was a status symbol.
Huge.
Dealer.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I kind of
That was
understand
100% drug dealer,
that
yeah.
way of thinking.
That's it too.
But I'm looking more along the lines, especially like the younger generations now. They actually think that this shit matters, and then when it starts bleeding into the older generations, that's where the problems come. Like my ex, if I didn't have I ain't even gonna use my ex. I use my son's baby's mama.
Yeah.
She had a fucking fit because he didn't post pictures of them together every day. Bitch, what? Why? Are you that insecure? For one thing, and for another thing, he's there with you. He is there with you. Or I had an ex that thought, one chick wrote something. She thought that chick was writing about me, that I was over this other girl's house. So, pretty much she thought I cheated on her. And I'm like, why don't you look at the time and the date of this when this bitch said this? Because I was with you when she was with she was with my cousin, but that was nobody's business, and I wasn't gonna say that. But I'm like, why don't you look at that? Why don't you look at that? I'm laughing at you right now because this time right now that it says on the fucking this little video game here, this says that you're full of shit.
Yeah. Look, dude, this
So,
is what someone posted, okay? We are all just horny bags of electric meat. How did we fuck up being horny electric meat so badly that we have to know what dialectical materialism is? That's the thing is, yeah, man, like none of that makes any sense. People's importance, like their ability to critical think of a situation to understand that, hey, that doesn't make a difference, right?
Well, that
It's
goes
lost.
back to what Joe Rogan said. We are sitting on a rock that's spinning like so many thousands of miles an hour
Yes.
in a big fucking universe full of things spinning millions of miles, and nobody even thinks about any of that shit.
Yeah.
No, you know,
It's a sea of nothing that keeps on growing, more nothing, out of nothing, that may or may not suddenly pop at some point, and all of us cease to exist.
it's like a Fermi paradox.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. Like, the reason why there's so much evidence to say that we might be in a simulation is because none of this the more we realize of what's happening in life, the more we realize none of this makes any sense, right?
See, yeah, I can't dig the simulation thing. Like, just
I
as
don't
some of
want
the
to
shit
either.
that I do myself.
Yeah.
Like, why would somebody even say if I was a sim? You know, remember
Right.
the game The Sims?
Yeah.
All right, some of the shit that I've done, or that like nobody would fucking make some thing do that.
Okay.
Like nobody would make a character or a avatar do some of the dumb shit that I've done.
So, but but this is the thing, right? Is you're equating that being in a simulation loses you the ability to have free will, right?
No. Being in the simulation, supposedly, you are programmed to do certain things by certain people. You know, I look at it when you say you're in a simulation. I am an avatar for somebody playing a video game. Not
Okay.
so much as
What if
we're
you
just,
are, though?
energies that are pumping through a computer that just happen to be a little sentient.
Not necessarily. So think about it this way: is what was the movie Osmosis Jones? Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
I
Okay.
remember the cartoon.
It was Chris Rock, I think,
Yep.
was the voice. So the idea is that while it's that we're not in a we are not in a simulator, we're in a simulation. So in other words, this environment that we're perceiving isn't actually the real environment, that outside of this reality, that there is a secondary, bigger reality that has created this reality. And now we function and operate in it. So no one's controlling us necessarily, but we aren't in control of outside of our universe. There is a thing.
Well,
It's fucked.
that actually is real. Now we're gonna end on this because we got 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
And this I actually plan on doing. This is real shit. Do you remember the movie Vanilla Sky
Yes.
with Tom Cruise?
Okay.
That shit is a reality now, and it's been a reality for at least I've been looking into it for 8 years now, and the technology is just getting better and better. What they do is they take a scan of your brain and then they slice it up, and you can actually be downloaded, so you don't have to. If there's another afterlife or whatever, you're just downloaded. So
there's
what
a
this
show
thing is
called
actually a
that.
possibility, and we could all be in that. But I
Yes.
mean, that's something for another show. Dino,
Yeah.
awesome having you tonight. You are more than welcome to always come. Other
Awesome.
guys here, we barely heard from you guys with some groans, but thank you for being on here.
Yep.
And this has been What the Fuck Wednesday Live. We will be going live for the next couple of hours, audio only. We will post a link. Thank you very much. And yeah, we're out.
Peace.
Later.